And this time, the rate of my happiness is increased with a 45-degree angle. Because if I'm not forgotten, in that program we have got not so much versatile participants. But this time we are having horticulturists, engineers of various disciplines, from computer, mechanical, and veterinary persons. So we can see that how we are moving fast, because when we are getting the feedback. I must congratulate Dean and the whole team for this successful organization and continuing this program. I'm also a teacher. I feel and wish to be part of this program. But anyhow, the senior people is meant just to give the blessings. So I'm here to give you the blessings. Again, I just recall back 6 months, I think around 6 months, yeah, the training was. At that time, I was feeling a bit nervous because I have not read the books on effective teaching and all these things. Then I started searching the books in the library, on net and everywhere. And luckily, I got a book written by Paul Ramson. Paul Ramson has very well explained and nicely, not very well, but very nicely explained in his book named Learning to Teach Higher Education on teaching characteristics. As we know that characteristics involve, just like personality involves how you dress up, how you talk, how you behave. So this teaching characteristics also involves a number of things. In the case, what makes teaching effective, Paul has written. I'll just reproduce. A great deal is known about the characteristics of effective university teaching. It is undoubtedly a complicated matter. There is no indication of one best way. There is no indication of one best way. But our understanding of its essential nature in both broader and deep too. In his book, Paul further has organized the essential knowledge of teaching into various principles. But after reading the book and of my own experience, I feel to group all these principles into 6 basic principles. At this moment, at this juncture, I feel to brief the 6 principles of teaching what I have concluded from that book are on my own experience. I am sure our teachers or participants may agree on my views. I have grouped it into 6 categories. The first important is interest and explanation. As our dean has already mentioned, that we are facing the 2 types of the group of a student. One, he feels ignored. Okay, let's not go to the class. We'll go to the Xerox person in the shop and get the Xerox of the note of ex-professor and just mug and reproduce whatever we are getting in the class. And if you go back, as he has mentioned, Guru, Siksha. If you recall the Allahabad University or Lucknow University or any traditional universities where the senior professors of history, Ishwar Dutt, physics professor, our Joshi ji, once in a month he used to hold the class, and then there was no time, 8 to 9. He started teaching early in the morning and continue teaching as long as the teacher couldn't get sleep. So that was the two extreme portion. So I have grouped it in this category, interest and explanation. And when our interest is aroused in something, whether it is an academic subject or hobby, we enjoy working hard to it. We come to feel that we can in some way own it and use it to make sense of world around us. Coupled with the need, establish the relevance of content, instructors need to craft explanations that enable a student to understand the material. Here I have mentioned the craft. We have to opt, as Dean has said, it's a rectangular wheel. We have crafted it and make it in circular. So we have to do the craft, the explanation, so that our student feel interested in the teaching. This involves knowing what student understand and then foregoing connection between what is known and what is the new. If you are not going to put anything new in your own lecture, the market people who is having the Xerox machine will do your job. The second important things which have concluded concern and respect for student and student learning. It's a both-way process. If you respect your student, not respecting that honoring or anything. Respect could be any, it's a broad term. In his book, Paul also has written that he started the things with the negative feeling about which he is assertive and unequivocal and mentioning truly awful teaching in higher education is most often revealed by sheer lack of interest in and compensation for student and student learning. It repeatedly displays the classic symptoms of making a subject seems more demanding than it is actually. Maybe his way of teaching, maybe way of explanation. So we have to put up some standard to the students so that they start copying. We all did our graduations, post-graduation, PhDs, and if you just see your thesis back, what we are observing, whatever our guide, our advisor, our chairman has explained, the way he has explained, we are just doing or following the same pattern. So we have to show them a road map. They also articulate clear goals, students. Students should know up front what they will learn and what they will be expected to do with what they know. I'm just repeating the same word again. Students should know up front and what they will learn. Just remembering or just telling mark the table, memorize the table will not solve the purpose. But you tell him that if you'll remember the mark the table or memorize the table, it will solve the problems. I recall my early childhood. We used to read Sanskrit. And my father, my teacher, said that अगर आपने रूप रटा है तो आपका रूप बना रहेगा. Here रूप word given the yamak alankar, meaning two things. One रूप, the Sanskrit, and other रूप is your future. That means you must remember the रूप and it will maintain your roof, your future. So here also we have to clearly tell the student that if you will not read the medicine or LPM, you cannot be a good veterinarian. Or if go for the computer or mechanical engineering side, if you cannot know the stress, strain and bending stress, you cannot design the building. So you must tell that what you have to do and how this will help you in future. Independence, control and active engagement. Our two friends, our two participants has said that we are interested that our last benchers should also pay the attention. That should be our goal. That's what it indicates. Good teaching fosters sense of student control over learning and interest in the subject. Good teachers create learning tasks appropriate to the student's level of understanding. What I mean, if I start saying something, a shlok of Sanskrit, everybody will start sleeping. So we must talk something which is interested or which is the level of our students. They also recognize the uniqueness of the individual learners and avoid the temptation to impose mass production. Standards and treat all learners as they were exactly the same. The critical example, what our dean has mentioned about our student BSc AG who got the admission in biotech. The instructor every time says, "Come on boy who is belonging to BSc AG, reply the answer." He has not taken the mass, he has not taken as a mass production. He has considered, he emphasizes that this student does not know or I don't know what but it helps that student. He started improving and improving. So we have to give the equal power, those who equal sort of attention who are sitting on the front bench or on the last bench. This you all will learn in due course of your experience or due course of time. I just put the same thing in different word. It is worth stressing that we know that a student who experience teaching of the kind that permits control by the learner, not only learner learn better, but that they enjoy learning more. I'm a good teacher. It's okay. But what is the feedback of our other student? How the learner has judged me? Judging a teacher could be two ways process. What I feel. One is the content of lecture. The other way, how to teach you, how to give the explanation of the subject. So it's a both way process. If you just deliver something, the conceiver doesn't accept it, there is no use. The last point which I feel is one of the main things, a basic principle of teaching, learning from the students. Every teacher, every person, when he joins the teaching profession, get a nickname from the student. This we accept. And this is with permission of you all learned people, हमारी बदकिस्मती है कि जब हम विद्यार्थी थे तब टीचर से डांट खाते थे, अब हम टीचर हो तो स्टूडेंट से डांट खाते हैं। तो ऐसा ना होना चाहिए। वी मस्ट learn something from the student. Effective teaching refuses to take its effect on student for granted. It sees the relation between teaching and learning parabolic, uncertain, and relative. Good teaching is open to change. If someone criticizes me that Pandey sir, I'm also engineer and I'm a teacher, I'm not the regular registrar administrator. Pandey ji ka takiya kalam, okay, have you got it? Have you got it? So if anything comes from the feedback from the student, I should change my habits. That's what I want to convey by this 6th point. Good teaching is open to change. It involves constantly trying to find out what the effect of instruction are on learning and modifying the instruction in the light of evidence collected. So friend, these are the 6 things which I got from the Ramson Paul books and my own experience. I'm sure when your hairs will become white, you will also agree on my point. And many of us use all these approaches, but often prefer or usually use one or multiple approaches. With this, my feelings, I wish a great success of this, not only this training, but this whole program. Wish you all the best. And once again, I welcome you all to Pantnagar, Harit Krant ki Janbhum and Devbhum Uttarakhand. Dhanyavad.